everyone. Ooh, I'm too loud, too soft. We're going to get started in just a second, so if anyone wants to grab a snack, grab a seat. Hopefully when you sign in, it'll come up. Okay. So first, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I know you have plenty of other things you could do on a Monday night at 7 o'clock. I know certain people are celebrating date night. Congrats on really living it up, you know. Show them how to stay married. My name's Lauren Braun. I am part of the Capital Campaign Steering Committee. I'm here with Kim Stout, who's our fearless leader of our Capital Campaign Steering Committee, and he'll also introduce our famous architect, Mike O'Rourke, who's joined us this evening. Before we get started, I just thought we could open in prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. God, our Father in heaven, we ask that you come upon this community this evening, that you help us open our minds, our hearts, to your way and to your will, and that we always recommit ourselves to that which you desire. Together, let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. St. Catherine Drexel, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So once again, thank you all so much for joining us. I'm just going to do a little overview of how it's going to work. Kim and Mike are going to walk us through how we came up with this plan, why we're talking about a parish center. They're going to do a beautiful 3D model review of what our plans are. And then at the end, we're going to open up for the questions. We'll have those who are on the building committee come sit up here with Father to be able to answer all your questions. So I am going to ask that you just hold them till the end, only because Kim has a lot to cover, and a lot of your questions may be answered as he goes along. And then afterwards, we have plenty of time for questions. At any point you want a snack, please help yourself. My rule of thumb at these events is always, I'm not going home with that stuff, so you better eat, okay? All right, I'm gonna turn all yours.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm going to fire up the technology here, and I just had a battery fall out, so that's not a good thing. All right. So how's everybody doing tonight? While I'm teeing this up, I just wanted to begin with letting you know that we've been working on our new parish center for some time now, over a year. And we've been we started out by doing due diligence, visiting other parishes that had built new facilities recently. And as we did that, we went out to the Episcopal Church in Harleysville, we went to MMR, we went to Our Lady of Guadalupe, and we went to St. Teresa of Calcutta to identify best practices and to learn about the mistakes they made as they built new office space, meeting space, and social halls for their parish. As we did that, one of the common threads that came through was an architect, Mike O'Rourke. So
I didn't make all the mistakes.
So we hired Mike, and when I met Mike, I didn't realize it at the time, but he also designed our church back in the 1990s. So that model that you see in the back, Father Brownholtz had it in storage for many years, and he was going to throw it out as Father Chung was coming on board, but he called Mike and he said, "Do you want it?" So Mike took it, and when we engaged him, he said, "You know, we could build a model of your new parish center, and I have the old model that I had built for your church, and we can put them together so you can see how it would look. And it looks great, as you can see, and we're going to take you through that so you can actually see an animation of walking down the building and some of the features that that building has. One of the things that we want to do is correct some of the deficiencies that we have in this building. So you'll notice the acoustics are not good. You'll notice we have to do a lot of work to set up audio visuals here. So in the new building, that screen would come down from the ceiling. We would have rooms that are designed with proper acoustics, proper ventilation, proper floors, and a commercial kitchen where we could plug in 2 coffee makers and not trip the circuit breaker, which is a problem that we have here. So, as we did this, I just have a few slides here. You remember the parish survey that we had done, I think it was probably 4 years ago? When we completed that, we used that parish survey as a basis for, we call it the Envisioning Project, which is essentially a strategic plan for the parish. And one of the things that came through in that survey was that 90% of you told us that our facilities are inadequate, and they are. Our parish center, I don't know how many of you go to meetings there, but if you do, the only meeting room that is accessible to everyone is on the first floor, and it seats 12 people. Our new parish center will have a large meeting room that will seat over 100 people. It will have a small meeting room that seats 12 people, which is great for a pastoral council or finance council. It'll have a youth ministry center, and it'll have a real social hall. So let me take you through this. So it'll have a social hall with a commercial kitchen and storage. So when we set things up here, we have to schlep stuff from the shed. So it'll be right there, and we'll show you that in a moment. We'll have 2 large rooms. One is the social hall, and the other is a large meeting room, but they'll be connected so that you can hold larger events. And to put it in context, I had our office staff, Tom Onuska. Tom is here. Is Tom here? There's Tom. Tom is our operations manager, and he's the best operations manager in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. So he and Sean Farrell measured this room, and using a statistic of 20 square feet per person occupancy for an event, this room seats 245 people. Our new facility isn't going to quite get there. It's going to seat 225, but the qualitative aspects of that space are going to be so much better than this that you'll all love it. Now, in addition to that, one of the best practices that we found in serving other parishes is that they have a youth ministry center. As you know, our parish has been growing. Sarah Erdl has taken over our youth ministry, and she's got kids running around here doing all kinds of stuff. I can't even keep track of them all. So we'll have a youth ministry center on the first floor of this building. We'll have small meeting rooms, so you will actually be able to have multiple events at one time with all the meeting space that we have, which we really can't do today. And if you have mobility issues, everything will be accessible because the building will have an elevator. So you'll be able, we have storage in the basement. So all the seasonal things and liturgical things that we store illegally in the mechanical rooms in the church, we can put those in the basement and we can move them expeditiously. And the second floor will be the office space. So we'll have state-of-the-art office space for our staff and for Father Chung to carry out the business of the parish. In addition, one of the best practices that we found was a courtyard for people to gather. You'll see it at St. Teresa of Calcutta. They have a nice, like a little fountain in the center between their buildings. At Our Lady of Guadalupe, they have a beautiful and very expensive courtyard that connects their parish center with the church. So we're going to do something more modest, but similar. So we're going to have this new building will be in the same space as our existing building. It's going to be bigger. And in that courtyard between, we're going to remove the grotto and put it right there, and you'll have a place to gather after Mass outside. So our goal is to create an environment like in the old churches in Philadelphia, where your family's social life and events can revolve around the parish, because we'll have the facilities to accommodate that. Okay. Oh, and there's going to be a covered walkway between the church and the parish center. So you come out of Mass, and the new building will be 30 feet away, and you'll have a covered walkway. We had talked about enclosing it, and that turned out to be really, really expensive. It was, several $100,000 to enclose that. So we're not going to do that. But here's kind of a cutaway of the building, and you can see on the 3 floors, the basement it's not a full basement, but it's a partial basement. We'd love to have a full basement. So I'll tell you about the economics a little later. So if you're really generous and you want to make a major gift to the parish, we could make the basement bigger. Just, let me know. So what does this cost? So we have a goal, a fundraising goal of $7.5 million to build this building. And in terms of your financial commitment to the parish, you can make a pledge over 5 years. And we have on our pledge forms, there are a lot of different ways you can do it. You can write a check. You can use the parish giving option. You can make contributions monthly, annually, weekly, however you decide to do it. But one of the constraints that we have in working with the Archdiocese is that we have to have 75% of the cost in cash before we can begin construction. So where we are now, we've been working diligently with Mike and his team and our construction manager, Boyle, to design the building and to be able to have the design and the siting and the permits approved so that we can go to construction once we have the funds. Now, where are we? We've been working on this for a while. So at the moment, we've raised $2 million, of which we have $1 million in cash. So we have a little ways to go, and that's why we need your help. One of the factors in this building is that it benefits everybody. There are a lot of things that we invest in as a parish for a parish community. We subsidize Catholic education. We provide food assistance to the poor. We have vibrant ministries that we support, like the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and those benefit various segments of our community. This benefits everybody. Giving opportunities for recognition at various levels, going from the St. Maria Goretti Circle. I'm still looking for that $250,000 gift. We're getting close. And so we want to recognize you for your contributions to the success of the campaign. Our goal is to complete the building in time for our 75th anniversary, which is in 2028. The folks at Boyle, our construction manager, tell us that the construction time is about a year. So keep that in mind. Why did we hire Boyle? Well, one of our building committee members is Matthew Sirianni, who's sitting in the back and trying to be inconspicuous. But he's an expert at construction, so he said, you need to hire a construction manager to keep this thing on track. So we hired Boyle. Boyle is the construction manager for the Hatfield Township Police Department project down the road. So when we talked to Tom Ziffel and Aaron Bimbro about them, they said, these guys know our building codes and our requirements better than we do. So we hired them. And is that your project also, Mike? And that's Mike's project also. So we have a little incestuous relationship here with our providers, but they really know Hatfield Township. And that's important because we have constraints. One of the constraints is that the new construction can only disturb 1 acre of land, and if it disturbs more, then we have to, it puts us in a whole new permitting process. We have to get national pollution discharge permits. It's going to increase the cost dramatically because we'd have to greatly modify what we do for stormwater recovery. So the design is to keep that surface disruption under 1 acre. It also is designed to fit in the space of our existing parish center. So the existing parish center, I think it's about 6,500 square feet. The new one will be about 15,200 square feet, but it basically fits in the space. And it won't disrupt our parking lot except for 2 spaces. So those 2 spaces that are being sacrificed will improve our electrical connections for the new building immediately and possibly this building in the future. Why is that? Because we will build the new building with enough electrical capacity to service this building as well. One of the constraints we have is that our electrical service here was designed in 1950. So the power comes into this building, and one of the things that Mike had us do was let's get a hold of all the utility bills so we can figure out how to hook up the water, the sewer, and the electric. And there's no utility bill for the parish center. So what we did was we built this, and then we ran a line from here to connect up to the parish center. So we'll have adequate, more than adequate electrical capacity in the new building that in the future we could repower this building if we decide to do so. Okay. There are a lot of ways that you can give. You can make pledges. We have our online giving. If you do that, you'll be able to go right from your pledge form to click on the online giving. You can make gifts weekly, monthly, annually, however you like. That's very efficient. At this point, we've looked into corporate matching because we haven't found any yet, but if you have an employer relationship, we'd certainly entertain that. And our fundraising consultant is the Catholic Foundation. So we've already helped a number of parishioners with non-traditional forms of giving. So gifts of appreciated stock, gifts from 401k plans, those sorts of things they can help facilitate, and they're very good at it. And of course, although we can't count it as part of the capital campaign, you could think about us as you do your estate planning. So just another way to help out the cause. So join us in creating a new, thriving place for our parish and the future. We've gotten great service out of our existing facilities. We've used them for things that they were never designed for. So our parish center was designed as a convent, and it's built to residential standards circa 1950. And it's just not economical to renovate it or rehabilitate it. When we've looked at it, the advice has been consistent, bring in a bulldozer and start over. So that's what we're going to do. In terms of the disruption during the construction, there will be some, but we've got that planned out. So Tom Onuska and his office team are going to move here into the school to carry out the parish office work during the construction phase. And it shouldn't have much impact on the parking lot because that little kind of alcove in the parking lot alongside the, right out here, that's where the laydown area for the construction equipment and materials will be, so that access to the parking lot at the three entrances will not be disturbed. So it shouldn't disrupt us for our normal masses and events that go on during the construction phase. So let me move to another thing here. I will take you into the future and have you see what the new building is going to be like. So Mike and his crack team came up with this, and I just loved it. So now you're exiting Mass, and you're walking toward our current parish center, and this is the main entrance. To your right, you see the St. Maria Goretti Parish Center sign. To your right, that space is the youth ministry room, right there on the first floor, and to the left is a large meeting room. So we'll go into the building as we walk in. And there you'll see Terry McBride sitting at the reception desk. And to your right, that would be the entrance to the Youth Ministry Center. And you look here to your left, and there's the elevator. So the elevator will go to the basement and also to the second floor. So we've designed this space that we can actually secure it. And just last week, we were meeting with the design team to talk about things like card access and the electrical things that we need to do. But we can basically lock out the first floor so that we secure the office space upstairs, we deny access to the basement, and now we can carry out events to third parties, with third parties. It's not designed to be a commercial space, but we can use it in that way if we choose. So as we walk through here, you'll see, here's the entrance, the one straight ahead. That's the entrance to the social hall. And to your left is the entrance to the large meeting room. So as we enter, and we'll have ample restroom facilities, which would be to your left here, that will be commercial scale restroom facilities, which we don't have here. So as we go into the large social hall, you're going to see there's a little fireplace to the right, so we can, do some nice cozy receptions there. And you look ahead, see those double doors? That's the storage facility, so we can store all the stuff in this room, so you don't have to schlep it. And we had a question in one of my earlier sessions where someone says we put an exterior entrance so that we could move the tables out into the parking lot for Goretti Fest. And Tom Coughlin jumps up and he says, we're not moving anything outdoors with this furniture. It's all going to be new, so it's not going outside. Here, you'll see the entrances to the commercial kitchen. And this is a real commercial kitchen. It'll have deep fryers. So when we do egg rolls, they can be done right there. It'll have a commercial range. It'll have a commercial dishwasher. It'll have microwaves. It'll have refrigerator, freezers. It'll have, the hood and all that good stuff. It's a commercial kitchen. The equipment alone will cost over $85,000. and we've have a donor who wants to cover that. So here's the room. So that at the end there, the glass, that you're looking out onto Cowpath Road. And as we go through the room, you'll see it's not as big as this room, but here's how we make it bigger. Oh, and there's the screen. So instead of having to set up a screen with stands, it comes down from the ceiling. We'll have overhead projectors. We'll have cameras set up so you can do live streaming for events that you're holding. And the controls that we talked about last week are set up so that when we connect this room with the large meeting room for larger events, you can synchronize the audio visuals between the two rooms, or we have the capability that they can operate separately so that you can have two events at one time. So this room is set up. If we were doing this in the new parish center, we'd set up in this room, and this is set up for over 100 people. And as I said, when we connect the two rooms for large events, for sit-down events, the design seating is 225 versus 245 here. And one of the benefits is that you'll actually be able to talk to the people on the other side of the table and hear them, which is very difficult here with the acoustics. And the lighting will be great. You know, we'll be able to dim the lighting and make it brighter, you know, whatever you need. And you can see that there's the kind of the portico for the church. It's only 30 feet away. So when we hold events here, we used to hold the donut socials here, we'd have about a 70% attrition, people exiting Mass and coming over here, going across that parking lot. It's like the Grand Canyon. We won't have that problem anymore. As we move through this room, and it'll be set up with flat screen TVs, so you know it'll have state-of-the-art audio visuals, and we were talking about how we do the cabling, and we're going to use the more advanced type of cabling so that we can better engage the future as technology advances. So as we head upstairs to the offices, this is another entrance. And to the left here, this wall is a small meeting room that we can use for like the pastoral council events or finance council. So we go up the stairs, and for those of you who want to get your 10,000 steps in, you'll go up the stairs. The rest of us will take the elevator. So this is the office space. So Mike and his team worked with the folks in our office, and we have a really good office team. They have good teamwork. They work together, and they gave us some good feedback on how to design this so that it fits the way that they work. So you're going to see a lot of open space. On the right side are the traditional offices for Tom and for Robin McLaughlin and Sarah. And then at the end of the hall is Father Chung's office. We'll have some open space here. So we have a lot of volunteers who do a lot of work in the office, so they'll have a place to touch down. And we'll have a conference room in the middle for private meetings and so forth. We'll discuss the business of the parish or for counseling sessions with parishioners. And then we'll go into Father's office. And this overlooks Cowpath Road. There we go. And as we come out here, we also have restrooms on the second floor. We have storage space, and we have a lunchroom for the staff on the second floor. So as we exit, we'll have a little overlook here onto the parking lot. And just to show you the features outside, so over here to the right, where the cursor is, that's the storage room for the tables and chairs and so forth. Behind that is the mechanical room And we'll also, in this area, there's going to be a doorway so that caterers can, bring in food and supplies and things that we might need for the commercial kitchen. And we'll also have a room, a dry room adjacent to the commercial kitchen for food storage and things. In this area, over here to the left is the Youth Ministry Center. So we're going to put up a little wall, kind of like we have between the rectory and the church, so we can keep the little kids from running out into the street. And then as we see how this connects, you can see there's the covered walkway. And here's the grotto that we're going to move and put it right there in the center. And you'll have a place to sit. You'll be able to meet with your fellow parishioners, and kids will be able to play in the courtyard, because we want you to stay after Mass and stay with us and socialize and get to know our parishioners. And we want to create facilities that you can use for education, for faith formation. And we've designed it with open space because I'm not smart enough to figure out how we can use this in the future, but we have some really bright people here who will really take advantage of this space as we grow the parish in the future. So, with that, we're back where we started. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to the team that put all this together. We have some, one of the things that a successful parish has is lay people who are engaged and make things happen. So we have our building committee. I have Tom Coughlin. Tom, you want to stand up? Tom is, he's the facilities manager for the Souderton School District. So he knows buildings and systems. We have Bill Doucette, who's an entrepreneur. He's the CEO of Hoffman Tool and Die. He puts things on Mars. He's a really smart guy. If you have a 1963 Corvair and you want to convert it to an electric vehicle, he can do it. We have Matthew Siriani. He works with buildings and construction and cost estimating for a company called P. Agnes. They're the premier construction management firm in Philadelphia. So he works with the best companies in the region. Then we have and Tom Oneska is also on our team, our operations manager. We go to Tom to get a realistic assessment of the things that we want to do. So we were designing the restrooms and the fixtures, and we try to keep things simple. So Tom brings us back down to reality. And then we have our capital campaign steering committee. So I see Ben Braun in the back. You met Lauren. Lauren is really a resource. She's the one who pulls this all together with Sarah Ertl. I've got Chris Sabia. I've got Dave Geppert. Joe, yes, Joe. Joe and I go back, who else do I get? Mike, there he is, Mike Casano. Okay, did I miss anybody else? Joe and I go back, remember the Heritage of Faith campaign? So we're about to fix Drexel Hall and upgrade the kitchen, and we were looking at air conditioning and stuff, and we started having discussions at Finance Council, Pastoral Council, and then the Heritage Faith campaign came up, and we had to run that. And the deal was that we would get 10 cents on the dollar. So we dutifully did the campaign. We raised $1.7 million, and we didn't get enough to renovate Drexel Hall. So that was 2009, yeah. So here we are. Now we know it's not feasible to renovate Drexel Hall, but because of the team that we have in place in the parish with Sean Farrell, our maintenance guy, and Tom Onuska, we now have a program of maintenance that we can extend the life of this facility, and we will continue to use it. So it will survive, and we'll keep it going on, you know, as long as we can, and use it for religious education and for CYO basketball and events here. And then the next generation of me will work with Mike and his team to develop the master facilities plan to figure out what we do with the rest of the campus. So that's where we are. So I'd like to throw it out.
Yeah, so we're gonna, thanks. So I'm gonna ask the building and team members to not be shy, come sit up front. Don't make me call you. Thank you. And I'm gonna open it up for questions. Please have a seat, or if there's anything, or if you have something, yeah. Yeah.
Gave them a lot of infeasible type things to do.
So Ben has the mic for questions. You have to have questions, so he's going to be our runner. And I'm just going to ask you to hold it close and speak up.
Mr. Wilkins.
Hello. I've been in the parish only 18 years, so I don't have a great history. But my question on fundraising is, are you using charitable gift annuities as one of the avenues for fundraising? Every college in the United States uses it, so it's not a scary thing.
Yes, you know, we can. I'm very familiar with that because I was a partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I headed up our higher education and not-for-profit practice. So my personal clients were the most highly endowed schools in the region. So I had Haverford, Swarthmore, Bryn Mawr, Lafayette College, and the University of Pennsylvania. So I'm quite familiar with that, and that is a tool that you know, can be used.
Well, is it going to be used?
Well, we'd have to have a donor who would come to us and want to do something like that, to set up a charitable gift annuity. We've had a number of donors come to us with donor-advised funds, that they're going to use donor-advised funds for the contribution. So we can do that, but we'd be happy to have a conversation with you on setting that up.
Okay, the second thing is, what's the effect on the parking spaces during a Mass with your new design?
Good question. We got that same question from the Hatfield Township Planning Commission, and while Father and I were stumbling for an answer, Mike jumped up and said, when the parking plan was approved by Hatfield Township, we had an active school here, so that the utilization of the facility, we really have adequate parking for that. Now, obviously we're going to have to be sensitive to scheduling events. So we don't want to do events that would conflict with Mass.
But just standard Mass times. I'll tell you what, if you come 5 minutes late, God help you. I mean, really, to be realistic. And if you expect the parish to grow, there will be more cars.
Yeah, one of the things we could do that was actually suggested by the Planning Commission is to utilize the ball field. for additional parking. And one of the things that we're working with from a permitting perspective is Hatfield Township has an ordinance that if you do major renovations or construction, you have to put in sidewalks. So for us, we have a 14-acre property. So that would mean we would have to put sidewalks along all of Cowpath Road and all of Durstein.
Ooh.
And our cost estimators tell us that has two problems. One, it would cost us over $350,000. And two, it would put us way over the 1 acre of surface disruption that we have. So we're applying for a waiver from Hatfield Township so that we don't have to do it as part of this project, although we see the value in doing that in the future. So we would probably do that in the future because it would benefit us. Number one, if you put parking over in the ball field, it would give people a nice walkway to move over to the parish. So right now you've got to go through, you really have to go through the Stations of the Cross, or you got to walk out onto the street, and we don't want anybody getting hit by cars trying to get to Mass.
Yeah, I think we did look into adding parking spaces over the ball field a number of years ago, before COVID. And the environment, the EPA requirements have changed since the last time we did that, the gravel ones. In earlier years, all you have to do is do gravels, and then they would approve us to add on extra parking on the field. But now the rule has changed. So you have to put in a ways for water to run off, and which bring the price up really high. And most certainly the amount of cars that are going to be parked in doing Mass is not going to change in the sense that we are not going to have large events or any kind of events during Mass time, except the events that flow right after Mass, like the donut Sundays and a few things for the kids, and that's pretty much it. So the amount of parking is going to be pretty much the same. I understand that it's nice. It's kind of a nice problem to have that we don't have enough parking for all the people that want to go to church. But it's also we need to address that in the future. I would like to be able to do that in the future to see where we can add more parking. Most certainly I was thinking about, before COVID, we're talking about get rid of this building and build it over the ball field, and then, and so we would have more parking here, but then that was $27 million that we don't have. So that project didn't work because, we dream big, but then we scale it down, and so what we have now is, I think it's doable, and it's going to be very good for the future of our parish.
One last thing, have you homed in on a firm price?
Actually, we're looking to not do a firm fixed price contract, which is why we've hired a construction manager. So the model that we plan to use is the construction manager at risk model. And let me have Mr.
I think his question was, do we know what the actual price is? But maybe Matt can answer that.
Sure. Let me have.
I always love getting put on the stage here. No, right now we're still in the budgetary stage of this project. We started off with a schematic design budget. We just finished up a design development budget that the construction manager is doing, and then there will be another budget which would be at about 85 to 90% construction documents. The project won't go out for competitive bid by the construction manager until we have $5.4 million in hand. We will not go out and test what the market is going to tell us firmly what the job is worth. However, the construction manager puts together their pricing from historical documentation that they have from their own database. They do test with their own subcontractors and trade partners as to what things are running so that they have a sense of what the real value is on things. But to put the job out and find out what it really is under a competitive bid nature will only taint the value of the project, and you'll sour the marketplace and you won't get the real value for your dollar. Does that answer your question? Okay.
You next.
Good evening. My name's Frank Martino. I'm going to follow up with the gentleman over there's question in reference to parking. During the construction year or phase, which we estimate to be about a year, how many parking spaces are we going to lose to a laydown area for the construction site? How many basically, how many places do you expect to be affected right now during that phase?
The preliminary plan is to take the parking lot that is in front of the parish center, so the front side of the old convent, and it's probably going to be about half of that. So what's going to happen is you're probably going to lose parking between the existing church and about halfway out to the main road that comes in.
Okay.
And then the other side of that same parking lot, you're probably going to lose about half of those parking spaces for laydown space.
Gotcha.
It's going to be tight, but they're going to have to work within those parameters.
Okay, cool.
If we start using the grass for laydown space, that encroaches upon that 1 acre of limit of disturbance, and we can't do that.
Yeah, that's all. I think that, as he was asking his question, that's what I was thinking about. During the construction, with the trailers and the cranes and everything else that's coming in, There's going to be an ebb and flow. Yeah.
Because the construction can be cut back on the weekend as far as how much parking space they're taking up, depending upon what they need for their own parking for the work crew.
Gotcha. I got you. One other thing.
One of the things with the parking, we're also going to work on remote parking. So you would be able to park at another location, and we would have you come in on a shuttle bus to the parish
That works.
to make it easier.
The other thing that I watched your presentation, and I think I heard no outside storage area. Seems from my experience with the church, with getting the stuff there for Christmas and stuff like that, there's no storage actually in the church. I'm hoping that this alleviates that problem going forward, that we have an ample storage area for tables, chairs, the Christmas displays and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, it's designed we have a specific storage room for the tables and chairs for the building, but the stuff that we now store in other locations we'll put in the basement. And
Okay.
we have the elevator. So when we did our due diligence, we saw different iterations of elevators. So we went to St. Teresa of Calcutta, and they had this elevator that would hold maybe 2 people. So Father and I got up there and we tested it, and it didn't work. So Father said, we're not going to do that. We're going to have a real commercial type of elevator that we can use to transport people and stuff.
So Kim, I have a question for you. In the new facility, when there's a funeral, will the space be available for parishioners or other people who are having a funeral to have a repast ceremony in the new center? And will that be at cost for them, or how will that work?
I'm glad you asked that question, Ron, because that's one of the real deficiencies that we have now, that we can't do that. We will be able to do that. And, the cost, we haven't worked that out, but, there are a number of different models where we could have a ministry that performs that service for the families. We could have a relationship with a catering organization that would handle that, and you could contract with them. But we'll be able to make that available. That's one of the real benefits. Also, if you're having birthdays, anniversary parties, you'll be able to do that here.
Weddings too?
Weddings, I'll have Father talk about weddings.
Most about it because in conjunction with Mass, you can't, parking is the problem.
Thank you.
But if you want to renew your wedding vows and invite 225 of your closest friends, we can handle that.
Do you have a space, though, for 300?
I prefer not to have weddings.
However, this may not be too important, but I'm wondering, what happens to the bricks we donated at the Parish Center and at the Grotto with our names on and in memory of people? What happens to those bricks?
Those will all be relocated to the new building. We'll find a place in the new building, probably in the grotto, somewhere incorporated in the grotto.
And the
We're still
ones-
working that out.
And the ones in front of the Parish Center, too?
That's correct. We'll incorporate all that in the new building. So the bricks that are around the Blessed Mother statue from the Scout Project, that would be brought back to the new grotto. The bricks in front of the Parish Center, that will be incorporated in the new building as well.
Thank you.
This is Ed Peterson. The question, watching your presentation, which I thought was really good, gave a good view of the interior. Is there adequate emergency egress if you've got a big event going on, or is everybody going to be running out the front?
There will be more than adequate egress from the spaces. There are several doors off the social hall. There's doors in both directions off the stairs as well. And from the second floor, there are 2 fire stairs and the elevator for access. Also, I'd just like to say quickly, it's really nice to be home here at St. Maria Goretti. I lived in Hatfield for 25 years, and this was my parish. Our 4 daughters all graduated from the school, so it's great to be back here. Maybe just a few other things about the building itself. It's going to have a very similar construction as the church. Basically the exact same materials, brick and the masonry banding. It'll have a combination of metal and asphalt shingle roofs, and the building will be fully protected by an automatic sprinkler system. So it's going to be a substantial building.
Okay, thank you.
This is for Mike, the architect. Was it ever considered about building the parish off of the side of the church? I mean, to create one flow, one building, trying to capture people from Mass before they get outside. Once they're outside, they're gone. So, I'm thinking that other churches I've seen where they attached the parish hall to the side of the church, was worked out very well. Any thoughts on that, or?
We did give some thought to that. The church building was specifically designed, like the question about exits and the size of the building for the materials that were used and all of that. While it wouldn't be impossible to add onto the church directly, it would also take away from the balance that the church currently has.
It could save parking spaces too. I mean, we would not have the courtyard, but we would have those precious parking spaces.
Yeah. The thought was that we're building inside the exact same triangle, if you will, of the convent. Like the building itself is 13,300 square feet between the 2 floors. And then someone was asking about storage. There's a basement of almost 5,000 square feet. So there is a lot of storage for the basement area. But we also looked at what we'd have to do construction-wise to the parish center to add on to the church, because we're extending the footprint, and it just wasn't economically a good idea.
Okay. Gotcha.
I was just curious if the diocese itself is going to help contribute to this project?
Could you repeat that?
Is the diocese itself, the Bishop of Philadelphia, going to help contribute to this project?
No.
Bottom line, no.
No, the way it works now is we're responsible for funding everything. You know, the days of the trust and loan fund at the Archdiocese to build things is gone. So it's all up to us. So we have to raise the money, which is why we want to do cash up front. We don't want to have debt. We haven't had debt in this parish. We got out of debt over 10 years ago. So we don't have debt. And the only debt that we would really contemplate would be a construction period loan that would be paid off by the tail end of the collection of the pledges. So we really don't want to have any long-term debt. Even though we changed our lead banker to Univest, and you know they always want to loan us money, but we always say no. We say no. We don't want any debt. So we have no debt on our books. And we really don't want to do that. So that's one of the benefits of having to have 75% of the construction cost, because, you know, for those of you who have financed construction and building things, if you've got 75% equity, you can build anything, and that's where we want to be. And we know we're going to have pledges that will go out 5 years. So for any debt that we would take on, we'd want the tail end, the collection of those pledges to be able to service that debt, so we don't burden the future generations of the parish. Oh, and the funds themselves are placed in a separate account. So, Mr. Wilkins, you're familiar with not-for-profit accounting of endowed institutions. So those funds are restricted. We can only use them for that purpose. So, you know, in the unlikely event that we wouldn't complete the building, you know, we would have to be accountable to the donors. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's why it's in a segregated fund. So it's restricted for that purpose.
Another issue that I think is rather important is the building going to be designed with security in mind? There's a very significant component of people in the United States who are anti-Christian and anti-Jewish, and doesn't seem like it's getting any better.
We do have that in mind with the design of the new building. In the new building, we will have security cameras. We will have card access, so only people can get into the building off hours when the building's not open to the public. We are also going to look into, when we put the security cameras in and the card access system in, that we will expand those systems into the existing buildings on the campus as well. The church, the school, the social hall that we're in now, even the rectory. We'll keep Father safe too. So, and we're looking also into grants. Probably the only grant that we might be able to get, and it's a big might, would be grants from the state for safety and security. So we've been in talks with State Representative Steve Malagari, and he said he'll probably be able to help us with that. So security and safety for everyone, young and old, is in mind with the new building.
At our last pastoral council meeting, we are taking on an initiative to evaluate security at the parish. We had done this several years ago, and we're going to revisit it again. So Deacon Steve is taking the lead with that, and we'll be working with the Hatfield Township Police Department. When we did this several years ago, you know, one of the things that that came out of that was that our parish doesn't fit the profile for violence because we're so large, and we have a congested parking lot, which is beneficial because people who carry out these activities want to get away. And the other thing is that our response times for Hatfield Police, and I know because I'm a greeter, and we've had to make those 911 calls for individuals who've passed out during Mass. The response times are just outstanding here. Not to mention the fact that we typically have on-duty and off-duty police officers attending our Masses on a regular basis. But it is a threat. My partner, Bruce Goldberg, was president of his synagogue in Penn Valley, and he has 2 armed security guards. They run day school, so they're there every day, and they're there for services on the Sabbath.
Yeah, hi, thanks. I came in late. Maybe you already discussed it. But what are the plans to prevent cost overrun?
Well, we raise more money.
So who's...
There won't be any no overage.
And how is that going to be guaranteed?
The contractor. So that's why we have a guaranteed maximum price, which results in, Kim started to get into this earlier as to the gentleman in the back asked, do we know what the job is worth? There's 2 ways to put a job on the street to simplify it. You can go out and you can say lump sum competitive bid. You put the job out on the street, people price the white space and the black lines on the drawings, and then they submit a price. And there are conversations, shall we say, about the black lines and the white space, who owns what. If you put together a guaranteed maximum price, the construction manager is responsible for managing the black lines and the white space on the drawings. They are able to put together a cost proposal to the team that identifies where there is ambiguity, and that ambiguity is then allocated with allowances or contingencies. If the contingency isn't used, it goes back to the parish. If the allowances aren't used, the money goes back to the parish. If it needs to be used, the design team is responsible for reviewing any of those potential cost overruns, but they still have to work within the parameters of the price that was given. Okay? The guaranteed maximum price scenario provides a better vehicle for delivering the project, as opposed to the contractor owns $7 million and not 1 penny more. It only results in an argument between the 2 entities.
That's actually a very good question. And another thing, just to add to what Matt said, the process of design is very different when there's a construction management GMP process. Right now, the construction manager and our firm and the building committee are all working together to do the design. So the construction manager is very aware of the systems, the materials, the procedures that are going to take place to construct this building. So they're buying into this whole design process at the same time it's happening. And this building committee is full of talent. So sometimes I'm a little scared of them, to be honest. They're doing a great job, and that collaborative effort always makes better buildings.
And to add to that, the construction manager will have looked at the drawings 4 times. So it's not the first time that they're looking at it, and through that ongoing design development process, we're identifying where the ambiguities are, and we're really trying to flush out those things so that it really helps to minimize the cost overruns.
I understand that the budget is $7.5 million, and right now you have $1 million in cash and another $1 million pledged, but you need to get to $5.65 million before you can begin construction, with the hope that the project is done within 3 years from now. You want it in 2028. Okay. How can the contractor or the manager, construction manager, guarantee that let me finish this whole thing, guarantee that the prices will not go up? We had COVID hit 5 years ago, and that kicked everybody's price through the roof. And God forbid we have another instance that would cause that. But how can you really guarantee that 3 years from now, our hopes and dreams will not exceed $7.5 million?
I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you how I run my construction projects on a daily basis. The faster we can raise the money, the faster we can build it. And quite honestly, right now, if we had $5.4 million, I would be telling this team to put the job on the street. It's a buyer's market right now. Construction companies are hungry for work. So to answer your question, right now, our budget has contingencies built into it. It has escalation built into it. So we are already planning for when we anticipate this project actually hitting the street. So the $7.5 million is a good benchmark at this juncture. As the design continues to be developed, our contingencies drop, our escalation is going to remain roughly the same until we can actually say we have our money in hand. But it's a valid question. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I think a lot of the systems in this project, one of the things that's hit the construction industry, everybody goes haywire over the word tariff. Everybody gets concerned with commodities. Again, it's an ebb and flow, and it does come back down to a degree.
Okay. And in this $7.5 million that we're raising, none of it is going towards the school or Drexel Hall?
No, this is strictly for the building of the parish center. And I mean, it's our goal to bring it in less than $7.5 million, quite honestly.
If it comes in less than $7.5 million, can you use the extra?
So in other words, if Kim raises $7.5 million, then they're going to take that money and they're going to allocate it for future projects.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Nobody asked this question, but I think it's something that should be mentioned, that we talked about the strength of the team. Like, we're only at this point because of the work we did before this, including talking with the Catholic Foundation and basically getting their input to tell us that, yes, we can afford this project by interviewing our parishioners. So, I mean, we've done a lot of background work before we even started talking to the construction manager. And, I've been really impressed by the people in this group, especially Matt, in regard to his knowledge on the construction process. I think it's really brought us way ahead of other churches. We've heard stories of other churches who start a project and it never gets done, and it just escalates and escalates, and I just feel as though we're in a much better position than other churches. So I just want to say that.
Just to put it in perspective, remember...
Kim, can I just ask you one quick question? I mean, again, it's boiling down to the money, right? So what, in terms of fundraising, you guys have already, put a real committed effort in. We have a wonderful plan that's laid out, as you so eloquently showed us, but it still boils down to dollars and cents. You guys, I'm sure, have gone after what were perceived as donors that were willing to talk about, like the President's Circle or some of that. In terms of timing, as the 28th date comes before us, what type of fundraising are we looking to do beyond, again, you guys went to the cream of the crop, I take it. So now it's putting an announcement out, whether it's through Father Chung making, that's the other thing I have to say. In the years that I've been here, this project has developed over a period of time, but I think even back to when the models first came into church, I think a lot of the the parishioner, the people who come to church but aren't as active in the other elements of this community, how are we going to get that excitement? Because